Okay, good morning to everyone. Well, good morning for me. So it's nice sunny winter's morning here in Sydney or Australia, where I am. And we're joined with Keith, our senior coach from the US. And what's it like over there, Keith?
It's a nice sunny afternoon. Sun's going down here, but it's yesterday evening here now, I guess, right? Isn't
Yeah,
that how
that's
that
right.
works? So
Yeah, we're Friday morning. You guys are Thursday evening. So it's all good.
half a step behind. That's okay.
Yeah, yeah, we're always been in front, mate. That's all it is. Cool. So our topic for today is testimonials and the power of testimonials, having a testimonial, why you need testimonials and all that sort of stuff. So I might just kick off with we talk about the marketing or getting our message out to people, and we use a principle that's been around for a long time, which is the AICDA, and the C stands for credibility. And that's one of the things that we talk about a lot is to be able to compete in your marketplace and to be one of the best and to be seen as the best, and because there's so much uh, social networking and social proof in that now, it's really important more than ever now to have some good testimonials and that sort of stuff on either your website or in your marketing material. And so the purpose of your testimonial is really to show people social proof that why they should be dealing with you rather than somebody else. And um, part of that is, again, getting testimonials. We'll talk about a bit of a framework, but getting those testimonials and putting them on your website, putting them in your marketing material, and making sure that people know that others have dealt with you and they've had a great outcome. Now, there's different formats for testimonials. There's videos, there's audio, and there's and written testimonials. One of the big things I say is testimonials to show credibility. So make sure you've got credible testimonials. Don't write them yourselves. In other words, if you haven't got testimonials, we can talk about other things you can use there this morning. But I don't know, Keith, I might have a bit of chat to you. What you got any questions or thoughts about testimonials before we get right into it? Or we just
Yeah, I guess going back to the credibility thing. You and I talked before. I know we've discussed in the past about how the building industry in particular has issues with credibility. Maybe not for builders per se, but as far as the public is concerned, credibility, trust is huge when it comes to builders. And I know some of the statistics we had thrown out. I think it was during our last Hangout where we talked about. Help me, yeah. You can probably help me out here with.
Yeah, the 2011 stats. Yeah, I think it was 2010, 2011. They were the first, the most complained about one year, and they were the second most complained about the next year. Yeah. So.
Yeah. So, what the owner's perspective or perception of his work could be very different than the public perspective. You're almost kind of behind the curve before you start. Not necessarily fair, but that's the reality of it, given some of those statistics that have been thrown out there. So as far as the purposes, Greg, if you can just kind of go through, aside from credibility, credibility is the big thing. What else do you think, as far as a testimonial, what else can it do for you beyond just...
Well, the power of the testimonial is not just credibility, it's also to be able to show, to help sell. So really, at the end goal of the testimonials is to push people across the line. If they're teetering between you and somebody else is hasn't got anything like a testimonial on their website, or they haven't got any sort of social proof, this can actually help just push those people across the line to make them to get them across the line. Now, I've heard before, some people say, oh yeah, testimonials are all made up, they're all rubbish, people just write them and all that sort of stuff. That's why I say now, getting them in a good format, and video is the best format. If you can go out and get a video of a testimonial, ideally at the end of the job, you've got the happy Mr. and Mrs. Smith, and you're standing there, and if you use, most people have got the iPhones and that sort of stuff now, where they've got an iPhone or a smartphone where they've got the cameras and videos on them, so you can actually stand there, and they're not intrusive, and you just use those to be able to get those people to say what the experience was like before. So this is kind of the framework. What was the experience like before, what it was like during the process, what it was like afterwards, and you'd have no hesitation in recommending XYZ builder to do their job again, or working with them in the future. So that's the framework, and But the idea of that last part is, it gives, they were looking for a builder and they were having challenges with it, with trying to find the right builder and making the decisions. The builder communicated really well with me during the course of the job, and then we're living in our lovely new home because of such and such, and I would have no hesitation in recommending him. That's just taking people on a journey through what's likely to be the process it's going to be like to deal with you. And so not only does it sell, it also explains the journey of what the frustrations they had at the beginning, and we're walking them through that sort of stuff. So they actually go, oh yeah, we're going through that now, but these guys said this guy was really good, he communicated, and that's part of, you've got to really ideally work out what you need in your testimonial that's going to address the fears, frustrations, wants and aspirations of your target market. So again, it all comes down to that marketing triangle stuff that we do, really understanding the target market, understanding what their problems are, and writing the right message for them and putting it out on the right medium. And that's why I say the good thing about testimonials is the right medium. If you get it in a video, you can put it on any medium because you can rip the audio off it. That can go out on your podcasts and things like that. Then you can get it transcribed, and that can be your written testimonial. You just tidy it up and call it your written testimonial. You don't have to ask permission. Then you actually ask permission when you get the video. So when you turn it from video into written, it's the same thing. It's exactly the same thing, and you can use that on your print media then.
Mm-hmm.
So,
right.
So the purpose, sorry, just to cut off there, the purpose is to take them on the journey. So it's not just to get the testimonial, it's to take them on that journey and help sell the process, help sell you as the logical choice.
Right. You were mentioning there too with the reputation and going back to the credibility concept and understanding the buyer's journey. A lot of the things that you're saying deal with being proactive, and I guess one of the other things too, just in kind of going along with that idea, we talk about online credibility. Testimonials too kind of provide a backstop for your reputation online. We talk about all the good things you like to say about your experience with a builder or with whoever you've done business with. You'll share that with your friends, but sometimes it's difficult to take the time to put that online. And it's not that a client isn't necessarily willing to do it, it's just it's not necessarily convenient. Yeah. And so making it convenient for them to do it, building up their confidence with what to say, how to say it. It's not necessarily being manipulative. It's putting them in a comfort zone to give you a good testimonial, to give you something useful. And also, along with that, it's a backstop for you in terms of your credibility. Everyone, if you've done business for 2 days, you've probably, in some way, shape, or form, dealt with that malcontent customer. There's always the whiner, there's always the malcontent, and they always tend to be louder than everybody else. So when you deal with that situation, inevitably, what is your position when you deal with that person? Are you sitting there online with you've got your Google Plus page and you have no reviews for your business, and now all of a sudden you have this irate customer who just wants to smear you all over the place on every social networking, every review site that they can find. There's people out there that'll do that. They'll just lay their ire out for the world to see. And you need to be ready. You need to have some good stuff out there, so that when that happens, it's just a blip on the radar and not the be-all, end-all of your reviews online.
Yeah. So every job you should be doing, you should be asking for a testimonial, especially, and the right time to ask normally is just before it's finished, or just as it's finished, when you hand them the keys over and they're all happy and elated about it. They've gone through and they've done the inspection and they've looked at it, and yes, we'll come back and fix all that. Oh, do you mind if I ask if we can get a testimonial as well? Do you mind if we say a few words to somebody else that might be looking at getting a home built, and we'll just do it in front of the camera there. The reason I talk about doing it in front of the camera as well is it's especially now because the cameras are so small and inintrusive, but it's natural. But sometimes they may not. They might say, "Oh, look, you just write something up and send it over, and we'll put a signature on it." I've got a client that's doing that at the moment, and he's in the HVAC space, and they're large they're working with larger contractors, builders, and that all the time. And the builders, you know, as they say, the builder's a little bit lazy because he just said, look, just write something up and I'll put my signature on it for you, right? So they're working out what do they write from their point of view, you know. And again, I just gave them the framework, you know, working through what it was like, what they ended up with, and had no problems recommending them. So that's sort of the framework. But again, like I said, sometimes you'll get a client that says, oh, I don't want to do a video, but I'll write something up for you. And then because it's a struggle for them, sometimes you might have to take the initiative to write it up for them and say, hey, look, do you mind if I put a few words on a piece of paper for you and send it over to you, and you just, you know, sign off on it. And the other thing too with testimonials, I've said about the framework about having those 4 steps in the framework. One thing I forgot to mention is it's always good if you can get, you know, their name and a suburb at least. You know, you don't need to get their street address and stuff like that, but ideally a suburb. That way they've got it gives that little extra bit of punch to the testimonial. Video testimonial.
Even a first name, last initial, and occupation sometimes can be good too.
Yeah. I mean, that's on the written stuff. Not so much needed on a video one, because the video one, they're standing in front of the home and all that sort of stuff. It's got creds already. But on the written ones, it's always better if you can actually put something like where they are, where they live, and like you said, maybe an occupation. I haven't really normally worried about the occupation because it doesn't make a lot of difference. But normally the suburb and their first name and last initial does make a difference. If you can get the full name, if they're happy with the full name, put that down. But yeah, cool. So as I say, that's the best way to get them. And from there, you know, if you don't have a testimonial, I suppose is the next step. Unless there's anything else you want to say about testimonials, Keith?
No, that's actually what I was going to ask. I know there's probably some people who, you know, if they're thinking, man, I really need to get on that. How do I start? Who do I go back to?
Right. Okay. So let's look at who do I go back to and all that sort of stuff. Now, there's no time limit to going back to things. I've got a guy that we're putting together a marketing system for at the moment, and he's got testimonials from nearly 15 years back. Right. Some of them are really good testimonials. We're putting them in his marketing pack, but he's also got people that he wants to go back that are like he did work for them 4 or 5 years ago, and he said, oh, they'll have no problems giving me a testimonial. So he'll go back and talk to them because he's done great quality work for them, and he's built the relationship with them. And, you know, after the job's finished, he's followed up and he's kept in touch with them. So he can go back to them quite easily and say, hey, do you mind if I get an updated or if I get a video testimonial now? So rather than a paper one, he's getting a video testimonial. So there's no limit to where you can go back to. But ideally, you know, you want to have ones that have been A-grade clients, ones that you've done well with, that are happy to give you a testimonial. And the other thing is, if you're starting out or you haven't got testimonials and you don't think you can get testimonials, the next step would be to use something we call case studies. And a case study is similar to a testimonial. A testimonial is from a client's point of view, so they're actually saying it, they're talking about it, where a case study is from your perspective and what the journey would be like working with you. So you would then explain the journey, you know, and it's done as a third person. So typically a story about a third person. You know, this is what they expect when they deal with us. And so really all you're doing is writing a testimonial from a third person point of view within the business. Now this is so not you as the business owner, but how somebody would expect the experience to happen as they're walking through that process. Right.
And that too, I guess, is where, whether it's case studies or it's an actual testimonial, having some numbers on hand are useful as well. Yeah. If your business is associated around numbers, yes. With the let's say like your guys, Wayne and them, you know, they've got the 100-day guarantee, isn't it? Or was it them, the 100-day guarantee? Well, yeah, they came up with a pretty unique guarantee system.
Yeah. So their guarantee is a number, and they say something. Well, let's say it's theirs. I'm not too sure whose it is, but we know that they've got the 100-day. A couple of the clients have spoken about the 100-day build time, right? So that 100-day build time, that can be a number that can be used in the testimonial. Say, hey, look, these guys promised it to be built in 100 days. They actually got it done in 83. Something like those lines. And the quality is fantastic and stuff like that. So they can actually talk about the guarantee. If they can bring that into it, where you're saying about numbers, that's ideal. If they talk about on time, on budget, that's kind of there as well. The job came in on time and came in on budget, but that's kind of what everybody says. But and in a lot of cases with being building, there's not a lot of numbers you can get in there. But if you've got a guarantee around numbers, if you've got some sort of thing there, you can get them to, like you say, hard cold facts with something that they said they'd get it done in 3 months or 4 months, they got it done in 3. That sort of stuff, that still works.
Mm-hmm. Or under time, under budget, under promise, over deliver type of mentality too.
Yeah. And the good thing is, you get a number of these things. If you can get, instead of just 1 or 2, every job you do, you get a testimonial. Take before and after photos. So these are all the things. Like, we're going off testimonials a little bit, but all the things that are going to add credibility. So when you're building your website, or if you've got a website and you're building your marketing material and all that sort of thing, you've got good, strong before and after photos. You've got Ideally, if you don't get a video testimonial, the second best testimonial is a before and after photo with the client standing in front of the job, and then their written words underneath it. So if you're using a marketing pack per se, before and after photos with them standing in the job, that's the ideal one, because it shows the journey again. It's all good to do a journey. I've had clients where they've just put together finished jobs because that's all they had. They didn't have startup jobs, and they didn't have pictures of the people in front of them. But we started to move to that model, and it just gave it so much more credibility, because here's Fred and Wilma standing in front of their nice new home sort of thing. So and that comes back to with the testimonials, getting as many as you possibly can, and getting them out there in your marketing, and so it's kind of saturating the market, so that then the people go, wow, this guy or girl's done a heap of work. They've got, look at this, they've got 50 testimonials on their website. It just adds so much more credibility.
Right. Well, and that goes back to the reputation management as well.
Yeah.
When you do have the malcontent, the whiner out there that just won't shut up, it's not a big deal.
No, that's right. Now, the other thing too about taking photos, before and after photos, I've seen this done before, where somebody's taken a before photo and there's like a tree and a driveway there, and then all of a sudden they've done an after photo and the tree's not there and the driveway's on the wrong side of the house and all that sort of stuff. Make sure they're congruent pictures, guys. Like, it's funny, I've seen some stuff over the years that has been interesting. Going, well, that's not quite the same. It might be a nice new house, but that's not on the same block of land.
Right.
So yeah, that's what I say. It's all about credibility. Make sure the stuff is legitimate. Yeah.
Right. Great.
Cool. So, anything else?
I was going to say, if you're about covered it, I mean, again, I feel pretty comfortable. With what we've covered so far with testimonials, and again, the idea being that all of this stuff that we talk about is interconnected. I mean, I know we're doing topics here in our Hangouts, but so much of it does overlap. So. Yeah, going back and looking at some of these other topics that we've talked about, they do all kind of interrelate. So
yeah, it's kind of building. It's all bricks in the building. It's all one bit. This is just another brick in building the solid foundations, right? So, but the good thing is, as I was saying about before, and you've got our marketing triangle. You've got your target market, your message, and your medium, and this is just one brick in that message part. Of building a solid foundation. But once it's done and you get this to your system, especially testimonials, if you turn this into a system where you just get it's just like, okay, before, photos through the job, do a video at the end with Mr. and Mrs. Smith. If that's just a system that you do, it takes no time at all to do it. You can either outsource it to somebody to put it all together for you, or you just put it together and put it up on your website, and there it is, helping you convert your next job. Once it's done, it's done. And that's the whole lot of this whole marketing and sales process stuff is, the stuff that we teach is, you build the system. Once it's built, you don't have to go back to it again, or you can just tweak it. All you have to do is tweak it. So take the time to build the system and get it right in the first place, and that's what it really boils down to. Right. And okay, so we've got nobody's come up with any questions as yet this morning. So if there's any questions, if you want to just type into the Q&A box and we'll see what's there. Nothing there. All right, so we will. I think we'll call it a wrap at that, Keith. I think if everybody's happy with that, if you've got any questions, or if you want to find out more, we'd love to hear your feedback on this. So, if you want to post something on Google+, Facebook, LinkedIn, just give us your feedback, and we'd love to hear some more. If you've got any topics you'd like us to cover as well, where we've got a list of things that we want to cover, but we want to make sure that we're helping you guys out. So make sure you either ping us with an email, or ask us to do something on a topic, or if you want to have a quick chat about any part of your business, if you just go to thebuildersprofits.com/chat, book in for a 15-minute quick chat. We can just, like, no obligation. We'll have a bit of a chat about your business and see if we can, if there's any way we can help you. Cool.
Great.
All right.
Well, thanks for your time, and look forward to the next Hangout.
Yep, no problems. Catch up with you next time. Thanks, guys.
Right, sounds good. Take care.